And we are live. What's going on, Giants fans? We are fresh off 2 days removed from, without a doubt, the best regular season win we've had in years. Pulling off the upset in London against the Green Bay Packers as Daniel Jones slays the dragon of Aaron Rodgers. And, you know, we've had 2 days to come down from this win, this high that we're all on. We all are just living this moment where it's a shock. I mean, most of the time right now, we're in the second week of October. And most of the time in the last few seasons, the last 5 years, most of the last decade, by the time we get right here, by the time the leaves change, by the time the colors change and fall, we're already out of it. We're already out of postseason contention. We're already out of everything. We're miserable. And all sense of hope and pride is absolutely gone. And yet here we are. We are 4-1. Saying it out loud almost makes me feel completely high on fentanyl. We're 4-1. And I'll get into this in a minute. We'll go back to the game, the monumental game that was. But for me, and this is a rant, but it's got to be done. It's got to be said. It's taken some of the joy out of this win in the last 24, 48 hours to see so many people try and desperately hang on to the narrative that Daniel Jones sucks. You know who you are. If you're listening to this right now, chances are you're getting pissed off and now you just turned it off. But let's be serious, but for real. There is a small percentage of Giants fans that no matter what Daniel Jones does, no matter what their eyes see, they cannot believe what they're seeing. They can't. Who was the Giant this Sunday against the Packers who, I forgot who it was, who had his shirt completely ripped as he's trying to run for the first down. That image, and I'm sure right now it's going to be put up on the screen. That's you. That is you, the poster. That's you, the guy on Twitter. That's you, the guy in the comment section, hanging on desperately to the narrative that you've bought into, that Daniel Jones sucks. So let's just go back to this Sunday. Here's Daniel Jones. He is an underdog overseas. He's got nobody, and I mean nobody, on offense other than Saquon Barkley. He's now leading the NFL in most game-winning drives with 3 game-winning drives. So 3 out of the 4 wins have been credited to the drives that he has led this team down all the way, including on Sunday 2 monster drives. Almost the length of the field. He does it. He comes into Sunday. All week it was, is he even going to play? He's out there with one ankle. He's not going to play. We're going to sign somebody off the practice squad. We got to bring in Davis Webb. We'll bring back the kid from Georgia, Jake Fromm from State Farm. Just throw whatever we got at him. Somebody's got to play quarterback because clearly Daniel Jones is not healthy enough to play the Packers. That was what we were told. And then reality checks in because Daniel Jones is tough as shit. He's by far the toughest motherfucker on this team. Period. So there he is. He's out there on Sunday. And right away, there goes Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers shit right off the bat. Giants are down by 2 scores before you can even blink an eye. And if you didn't believe in the Giants, if you have no faith in the Giants, this coaching staff, maybe it's Jones, or maybe, and I'm not knocking you because you're well-deserved to have this opinion, but maybe over the course of the last few years, because we are not accustomed to seeing a Giants team go down the field and execute and play from behind. So I get it. By the first quarter, especially by the first half, the majority of this fan base were likely thinking, fuck, I got up early on a Sunday to watch an ass whipping by Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. But Destiny's a motherfucker. And it was Daniel Jones, it's his destiny, to lead this team on one ankle, bleeding. The guy's got blood pouring out of his hand. I don't even know, still, 2 days later, what happened. 2 days later, I don't even know what happened to his hand. But he's bleeding. Iconic. Leading these drives. And let's be real. Some of these throws Sunday, those were dimes. Those were lasers. Those were darts. And that's what happens when you have protection and separation. As many things as I've said and others can say about Darius Slayton, a guy that in his rookie season showed what looked like a lot of potential and has taken a step back every single year, he stepped up big time on Sunday because other than Darius Slayton, who again maybe would be lucky to be the fourth or fifth receiver on any NFL team, but regardless, he stepped up. He was there for Jones. Jones had complete confidence in him, and you saw what happens. The throws he was making to another guy, to Slayton, and somebody I honestly had never even fucking heard of until Sunday. And if you watch my reaction videos, I made the comment because it's exactly what it was this guy literally stepped off the Amazon truck delivering packages this Sunday or all summer and found himself as one of the big targets. 3 receptions for 35 yards, three key receptions. Marcus Johnson, hats off to you. I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't even know how long this guy's been on the team. And I follow this team. Maybe he was on the practice squad. I don't know. But there's Daniel Jones making the most out of guys that don't even belong in the National Football League. Okay? Darius Slayton. This guy, the Amazon truck driver. Richie James. David Seals. Who are these guys? Who are they? They're nobody. And you know that. These aren't household names. If any quarterback that gets praise over Daniel Jones was 4-1 with a bunch of guys who were stocking shelves a few months ago, can you imagine the treatment that they would get? The fan base would rally around this quarterback because he's doing something phenomenal, unheard of. But here's the reality, folks, and it pains me to say this. I am so disgusted that I have to say this. We're not the fan base that we thought we were, that we once were. There was a time when you brought up the New York Giants fan base, universally across the nation, they would be loud, be known as loud and abrasive fans, but always very opinionated. But they were known as smart, intelligent fan bases. A fan base that could weather the storm. They could go through some bad years. They did it through the 70s. I did it through the 90s. And now, those fans are gone. Most of us, that's an unrecognizable part of our history now. Because now, the reality is that 2 Super Bowls in 5 years, which is getting farther and further and further away from us now, that changed things. That changed the dynamic of the connection and the relationship between the fans and this team. Because what you had was all of a sudden, whether you were an older fan, if you're in your 40s like me, you went through the 90s, those 2 runs in the mid 2000s were just, it's the best part of your life. Other than maybe you had children, and you got married or whatever. Other than that, that's top 3 moment in your life. I don't give a fuck who you are. It just is. And then you have fans that were younger fans that came up and this is what they thought the NFL was like. This is what they thought being a Giants fan was like. You just win. You just fucking win. You beat the undefeated Patriots. That's what you do. Then you do it again. 4 years later. Just fucking for no reason. Let's just beat the Patriots twice and Tom Brady. We got spoiled. We got spoiled. And a large part of this fan base got delusional. And I'm going to, in full disclosure, I'm going to put myself in that category. I got delusional because having that success made me almost forget what it was like as a fan in the 90s. But now, in the last 10 years, it's been a total reminder. And I came here. If you're watching this right now, obviously you know of my channel, youtube.com/Mr. Chuck Knoxx. I have been here since the beginning of the 2011 run on YouTube, making videos publicly. And so anybody that knows me personally, that knows me in real life, I am a glass half full guy. I always see the brighter side of everything. I don't believe in trying to think negative all the time. And when I came into the 2007 championship against the Patriots, the undefeated Patriots, I knew we were going to win that game. I just knew it. On paper, they tell you, well, there's no reason. You stand a chance. Why even turn it on? I felt that way about the Ravens Super Bowl. That was the only time, as in my adult life, the Bills Super Bowl, I felt we were going to win. I felt our defense was better. The Ravens one, I didn't feel we stood a chance. And 2007, I came into that Super Bowl knowing that what we did best was the weakness of the Patriots. Pass rush, get to Tom Brady, make him uncomfortable, and just play mistake-free football, and you're going to beat him. And we did. And that's game plans. That's matchups. That's football, folks. When you keep talking about reading fans' comments and hearing about Daniel Jones, 71 yards against the Bears, that's game plan, folks. That was a successful execution. We exposed the Bears' weakness and took advantage of it and got the win. We didn't get the sexy stats. Sorry about it. But where I digress here, but where I was delusional was the fact that I really thought, every time, we can just go in any game. Doesn't matter. And I still feel that way. No matter who we play against, that 2007 game, 2008 is when it happened. That changed my mindset forever. It really made me feel like we can be David and Goliath every single fucking time. So when you hit play on any of my content, a hype video, leading into a week, and the biggest game, no matter who it is, we're supposed to stand no chance, and I'm telling you, we're going to win the game, we're going to fuck them up, blah, 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 I believe every word I'm saying. And those are my delusions sometimes. I have no business telling you we're going to beat some teams, but I believe it. I believe everything I say. So my delusions were believing that, fuck it, I don't give a shit who's on this squad. We can beat everybody. Bring us another undefeated Patriots team. We'll beat them too. And the opposite of that is the delusions on the opposite side, where you have fans nowadays that if they don't see things, they compare their team, this team, to other teams. And that drives me nuts. If you're a lifelong Giants fan, you know one thing, twice maybe in our lifetime, were we ever the team to beat right out of the gates. That's not who we are. We don't go into each week being the fan favorite, being the favorite to win the game, being the favorite to beat the better team with the better quarterback, with the better record. We don't put up stats that put us in top 10 categories. I got news for you. A lot of you have really, really short-term memories. When the Eli Manning era was here, many of the same people that are right now pushing Jones out the door, I guarantee you, if you had a Twitter, or if we could dig up your MySpace, wherever the fuck you were talking on social media, circa 2006, 2007, early 2007, you wanted Eli Manning fucking gone. And you know you did. You know why? Because he wasn't putting up the same stats as his brother. He was constantly getting compared to all these other quarterbacks, trying to live up to his reputation of where he was drafted, how high he was drafted. Sound familiar? What have we heard since the day Daniel Jones was drafted? That was way too high. Should have drafted Haskins. Should have drafted this guy. Daniel Jones is a bust. And the delusional reality that I keep talking about is that here we are today with a coaching staff that I think 99% of our fan base is all in on. An organization that's been completely changed. The winning culture's there. We have the right GM. We have the right staff. And I think for the most part, everybody agrees on that. But it all goes back to Daniel Jones. And for many, it's just because, A, he wasn't the quarterback you wanted, or it's B, he doesn't put up the type of numbers that you would prefer, which are the sexy stats that, are going to show up on the SportsCenter highlights. His biggest crime right now is that he's not putting up the type of numbers for you personally that you can start him in your fantasy league. Because, or you go home and you turn on Madden and some fucking redheaded quarterback from the Cowboys is an 86 and your franchise quarterback's only a 68, Chuck. How is he a franchise quarterback if he's only this in Madden? And that sounds funny. It sounds like I'm talking shit, but honestly, that's a reality. That's a comment that I get. Madden. The delusions of some of these people in the post-Manning era, where we're at today, is to them, stats are greater than standings. We're a 4-1 football team with a quarterback that's out there on one leg, throwing to receivers that have no business in the National Football League. And he's winning games. He has the most game-winning drives in the NFL. 2 weeks ago, because you guys love stats. The Daniel Jones haters love stats. Until this week. There's a stat I kept hearing about. QBR. His QBR sucks. The guy was dead last just 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now he's better than Brady, Rodgers, Burrow, Stafford, all guys that obviously are, you'll have to find a way to move the goalpost now. Maybe separate a shoulder if you move it too far. But the walls are closing in on your delusions. The delusion that Daniel Jones is not your franchise quarterback is coming to an end, folks. This was a contract year. This was supposed to be the prove-it year for Daniel Jones. And I get it. If we were 1-4 and Daniel Jones wasn't one of the reasons why we're in these games every single game, if he was a turnover machine still, which, by the way, the turnover myth, that is surface level nonsense. When you see somebody bring up the turnovers, go check his stats. Don't just turn on ESPN or whatever the fuck you listen to, whatever podcast you listen to, whatever wannabe giant Mike Francesca podcasters you listen to. that are giving you full fake fucking news, okay? This guy's turnovers have dropped dramatically every single year. Every single year. So I don't even want to hear about that. But if all of that wasn't happening, if he was just, doing the same Daniel Jones shit, I would say to you, come January, we got to move on. He was a great, tough kid. Maybe we can sign him as a backup, an insurance policy if it's on the cheap, but it's over with. Instead, we're a 4-1 football team, which is on 50% of the defense, 25% on the legs of Saquon, and 25% Daniel Jones. So rather than have this conversation in October as a 4-1 team for the first time since 2009, why don't you, for once in your life, stop trying to be right? It's okay to be wrong. I got almost 500 videos on this channel. I'm wrong all the fucking time. All those years where we won 3 wins, 4 wins, went on 0-6 streaks, I was still out there. Those videos are still there. So it's not about humility. It's not about being able to say I was right or I was wrong. This is a delusion. Detachment from reality, because reality is your quarterback is tough as nails. He's got an arm. He's got legs. He's improved every single year. Unfortunately for him, in a contract year, he's got to go out there and just find a way to win with guys that cannot get on the field, and he just does it. Just plug somebody in there. He just does it. But we should all ignore that because he doesn't have the stats you like. Unbelievable. It's disgraceful. We're now into the second quarter of this season, and it started with the biggest win of Daniel Jones' career and the biggest regular season win we've had in a long time. We should not be having a conversation about our 4-1 quarterback and whether or not he's going to be here at the end of the year. Let this fucking season play out. Let it happen. You know what's happening. You see it. No matter how fucking dense you want to be about Jones, you see what's going on. You see the culture. You see the change in the locker room and the sidelines. And I know everybody sees this, the confidence. When was the last time this weekend it really hit me? It's been a long time. We scored 17 unanswered points. When was the last time, and did it against, by the way, Aaron Rodgers? When was the last time you felt confident that, you know what? We're just going to come back and win this game. Guess what? We have that now. You know why? Because of Danny fucking Dimes. Not the only reason, but a major part of it. We got a long season to go. We're heading in this week against the Ravens. Another game where we're the underdogs. That's fine. I love it. In our own house. Against a quarterback that a lot of people would like to see in blue next year. Considered to be one of the NFL's best. And this Sunday's another opportunity for Daniel Jones to put that body, to put that jersey on his wall as another top dog that he took out. Wins are all that matters, folks. Stats are stats. We live in a world of fantasy football, millions and millions of dollars spent on analytics, and everybody thinks they're a fucking genius because they study QBR ratings and fantasy football numbers. At the end of the day, there is a form of football that is tested, proven throughout the history of time, and that is playing smash mouth football playing tough defense, and not turning the ball over. And if you do that, you are going to win way more than you're going to lose. And we're enjoying every bit of that formula. Thank fucking God that our quarterback is Daniel Jones. As disappointed as I am in a small percentage of these fans that are the anti-Jones fans that you cannot be moved no matter what, the guy could put up a Super Bowl this year, I guarantee you they would still talk about his stats and they'd still like to have somebody else. But, okay, we've gone over it. I am so proud of our fans this season for the last few weeks. Going back to the whiteout game against Dallas, you saw how crazy anybody that was there, it was amazing to watch. All game, for 60 minutes, our fans hung in there. Then you saw it in the Legacy game. That was, for guys like me, that was like our childhood all over again. An ugly football team, winning dirty, winning gritty, the crowd making a difference, making an impact. It was fucking beautiful. And then this last Sunday, overseas, what was a Packer home game in London, there was our fans out there. There were our fans out there just going nuts, filling the house, making some noise, and the pride that they have in this team is electric, and it is captivating right now. All the Giants fans right now, it is infectious. So for the few that want to sprinkle in a 4-1 team and sprinkle in some shit on our parade, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen to this quarterback. It's not going to happen to this team. And for the fans like myself who have a platform, use it to combat these false narratives. Daniel Jones is leading this team. We're going to go as far as he and Saquon Barkley can take this offense. We don't have receivers. We're not going to have any for the rest of the year. Let's just be realistic, okay? Kenny Golladay, I don't know who the fuck that is. Kadarius Toney can blow a hamstring just changing the remote. We're going to, whoever's on the field is who we got. And I love it that way. No excuses. Next man up. That's blue collar, big blue football. That being said, if you made it this far, I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. The support on this channel and my content this year has been absolutely amazing. It feels great. It's been rejuvenating to come back out here and try to rally fans around a winning team again. It's been amazing. And I know people say shit to me all the time. They're like, well, you know, you say the same things every year. Well, no shit, moron. I'm a fucking hype man. What do you want me to fucking say? Hey, let's go out there and try to do our best and be swell. Fucking idiot. We got a big game this week. Let's get on the same page. We have a schedule that, you know, these next few weeks is tough. And then it flattens out a little bit. And we have a chance if we play our cards right. By the time we make it to Dallas on Thanksgiving, I'm not even going to say nothing. But you guys look for yourselves. But it's quarter at a quarter, one at a time, one play at a time, and it starts again. We're in a weekly season, 1 week to the next, and we are days away from another round. This round against the Ravens. One thing I can promise you is we're going to play with heart. We're going to play with toughness. And we're going to be in every single one of these games. And a big fucking reason for all of that is the captain of this franchise, Daniel Jones. Your quarterback, my quarterback. Deal with it. I'll catch you guys again later this week with the hype video and more content to come. Podcast is coming out on official rollout. Stay here. All the social media at Chuck Knoxx, at Twitter, at Chuck Knoxx, on TikTok, at Chuck Knoxx, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mr. Chuck Knoxx. And that's where you'll find me all week long. Thank you again, Giants fans. Let's fucking go and let's make some noise. See you this Sunday.